You have been well trained.
No.
You don't have to carry a sword to be powerful.
I won't fail you.
Oh, do not.
I'm not afraid.
There is no try.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Chance Cube coverage of the 2018 World Championship of Star Wars Destiny. My name is Todd, and in this final video of the Chance Cube coverage, we will be watching the battles between Mads on the right, running Elite Eila, Elite Rey, and Joe on the left, running Elite Yoda, Elite Ezra, Rookie Pilot. We just saw Joe do some pretty nice work against the Sabine Ezra, just really blowing it out of the water there. I know his compatriot is in the top 4 on the other side, and we're going to be able to I know they were thinking that they might be able to be number 1 and number 2 in the World Championship. We're going to go ahead and see in this battle if that ended up happening for him. If you don't know what happened, then this is what we're here to watch. If you do know what happened, congratulations. You know. So Mads on the right rolling out. I think he got a 3 on the battlefield rollout. Okay, so there was a little bit of a tilted die there. So we're trying to determine if they're going to keep it or if they're going to re-roll it. So, all right. So they're discussing whether or not to count particular dice when they roll. So they're just going to go ahead and re-roll all the dice. So looks like we're getting a pretty decent rollout from eAayla. A little bit lower on Joe's. He is hitting die sides, but unfortunately, a lot of his dice have 2 blanks. Every single one of them, as a matter of fact, have 2 zeros, I should say. Not blanks, zeros. Yoda, do or do not, he does. He has no blanks. So, Mads definitely not wanting to do the Weapons Factory Alpha for Joe. Joe getting that extra resource in the round would definitely hurt. I do see a rally aid, though, so we're definitely going to see something happen here. And Mads is able to put down Rey's lightsaber right off onto Rey, getting those 2 shields and hopefully getting the Rey activation. Not a lot of right off the bat damage sides on Joe's side of the board, so unfortunately he's not going to be able to knock those shields off of Rey as quickly as one might hope. Really smooth work. I gotta say that I really do like Joe's rolling techniques. He is just super small. Mads asking permission if he can use Joe's dice tray, and he says, yeah, absolutely, go for it. That's because he knows that his dice tray is specifically loyal to Joe and is only going to help him in this game and is not going to help Mads, as we can see so far. I'm just totally kidding. The dice tray is not partial to either player. He's very fair, and I want to make sure he doesn't get mad at me for that, because I know my dice trays at home, if they hear me saying that, they are absolutely going to turn on me. So I will say that the dice trays are very impartial and very good dice rolling mechanics. So sorry, got off on a little tirade there. But we're going through this game. This is going to be a pretty tight game. We're going to see these players really try hard to do very well. Oh my goodness, more blanks on eAayla. Now, while I do not have a whole lot of experience with Joe's deck, the drive-by shooting deck, the eAayla deck, I actually have a little bit of experience on. So I may be able to provide a little bit more insight on that side of the board. Getting that 3-cost weapon at the beginning is really great. You've got the profitable connections to be able to make it. Unfortunately, you really want to get Reaping the Crystal with it if at all possible, but I believe the Mads only runs 1 copy of Reaping the Crystal. He does have a lot, well, not a lot, but he's got 4, 5, 6 3-cost upgrades, I believe. So that Reaping the Crystal could come in handy pretty often in the game. We see a discard to reroll into 4 damage, a shield, and a blink. Ayla's die still just getting the blanks there. Sometimes that happens. Even in computer simulations of this game, we see a lot of that happening. we'd see a DH-17 going on to the rookie pilot, hopefully trying to make him, my guess, a target. We did see him use the Yoda special to get a resource and turn the other Yoda to the special, but he did not continue the resolution of the special chaining. And that was probably because he wanted to be able to focus some things in a little bit, but he gets the +2. We've got 4 damage on Joe's side of the board just right off the bat, and he still has some dice to work with to be able to get even more damage. He could go for modifiers. Mads obviously is not going to have access to easy pickings. We're just going to be working with the blue hero suite of events. He could have guard in his hand. That is a very good way to do it. One other thing that I have noticed as well is that Mads does run Destiny. Oh, there's the guard. Sure enough. Removes the special and the +2. He knows that getting the modified damage would be way too easy. Or, sorry, getting the base damage is way too easy with Yoda special. And so removing Yoda special on one of the range damage side was not enough. So he was able to remove 2 damage and some additional damage as well with the guard. So Joe going ahead and resolving the range damage side so that he can go ahead and get those shields off of Rey from the beginning of the next round. There is a shield side showing on Rey's lightsaber, so that could always come back and be the starting position for him. Or Mads could even end up claiming. So we'll have to kind of see how that works out. The battlefield that was chosen by Mads, having won the roll-off, is Obi-Wan's hut, which is to give a blue character a shield or spend a resource to give another character a shield. Do not see a lot of people spend the resource to give another character a shield, a non-blue character a shield. So I don't see that trend beginning now anytime soon. You got the DH-17 there that cost 1 and gives him a shield, and he's going to be able to roll out next round and possibly do some really good damage. So definitely not worth the 1 resource at this stage of the game. All right, we discard to reroll. We discard Luke's lightsaber to reroll and get 4 damage. And then Joe claims. After having taken 1 shield and then taking the damage, and then claims to get another shield on Yoda. Yoda being his only blue character, he's able to get that for free. So Rey taking the shield from her lightsaber, hopefully to be able to get the activation damage. When you have a shield on Rey, every time she activates, you're able to do a damage to a character. It is not unblockable, but it is damage, so it's decent. We get the +2 on the eEzra, the 1 resource, and the blank on the holdout blaster. We see 4 speed go on to Eila. Eila seems to run the 4 speed because she does have the special that she can chain to the 4 speed as well. Friends in low places, we have a second Rey's lightsaber, synchronicity, overconfidence, and I was just a little bit too slow. He did discard the overconfidence, so we are going to see Eila roll out. She hits the 4 indirect and a focus. Wow. If there's one thing I know for sure is that Eila may be overcosted, or undercosted, I mean. For 12 points, you get a die that has a 1 damaged and then 2 damage sides, and then a resource, and then a special that is mitigation. Her die is amazing, and she has 10 health. I mean, if you ran her at single die, you would have a 9 cost character with 10 health. We haven't seen that very much, a character who actually has more health than points. Not only that, but with the die as good as this. Now, indirect, I believe, may have been a little undervalued when they designed the set, because indirect damage is huge, and the sides that you can get on it are gigantic. We just had a little bit of a spoiler. If you're interested, you can check out many of the different Destiny podcasts and other content providers to learn a whole lot more about the upcoming spoilers for the next set. One of those spoilers is a card called Planetary Bombardment. It has a 7 indirect damage side. Oh my goodness, that is going to be ridiculous. But indirect damage being a little bit undervalued because, like in decks like this, as we just saw, the 4 indirect damage that Eila just resolved did not do much. Of course, so we roll out the rookie pilot and the DH-17, both hitting one of their blank sides. So luckily for Joe, though, there are absolutely 0 Feel Your Anger cards in Mads' deck, even though he is running blue. I do get a little bit of some heart palpitations. Sorry, that was bad. Some heart palpitations every time I roll blanks and I'm across from blue dice. It's just a little bit of trauma from how many times my dice have been removed by massive Feel Your Anger plays. We do get a discard to reroll. We still keep that focus on the 4 speed. We've got 2 melee and a discard side on Ray. Honestly, the discard side could be quite good in this matchup. We see a discard to reroll. And Yoda activation. We get the double specials and the +2. Oh my goodness, there could be a wicked amount of damage coming through here because each of those Yoda dice are focuses, and you could easily turn the DH-17 and the holdout blaster both to 2 sides, and so you'd be staring down 8 damage for 2 resources, and the Yoda specials can get you those resources, so he could still have two resources at the end of this. This is wow, Joe's starting to roll some heat. Mads deciding what he's gonna do. He still has a couple of resources, so he may still have some options in his hand. He could still have the second guard to be able to get rid of both of the Yoda dice, but he does not. He decides to discard, and he discards an Overconfidence. Okay, so gets rid of a little bit of removal in Joe's hand. I think I saw the easy pickings, though. Yeah, there's an easy pickings in there, and I think the other one could be a scruffy-looking nerf herder. Scruffy looking. Who's scruffy looking? Actually, I'm a little bit scruffy myself for nowadays. Haven't had the chance to shave for a little while. Not that you know that, because you can't see my face. So, just so you know, imagine an extremely handsome Matt Damon. Yeah, I've been compared to Matt Damon. So imagine Matt Damon, and imagine him getting a little bit of a beard there, looking a little sophisticated. Yeah, that's right, Matt Damon. Sophistication. That's me. You know, one day somebody's going to find a picture of me and go, that guy doesn't look like Matt Damon at all. But for now, you don't know. You don't know. It's just my sultry voice. All right, so we get the Yoda special. He's going to look at his shield instead of resource. He does have the money already to be able to pay for things. And he does have money cheats in his deck. Rally aids. I don't think he runs tech teams, but I know he definitely has rally aids. He's trying to see if there's any way for him to keep eEzra alive by taking shields. So he does take a shield and turn a die. He takes another Yoda special. He does do the 2-for-1. He takes a resource and turns the DH-17 to the modifier side. So he is baiting out any removal that Mads may have. Unfortunately, Mads does not have the removal, so he is going to end up only having to pay 1 to do 8 damage. Woo, goodness. What a time to run out of mitigation. He does turn to the 3-for-1, so he's got the 5 damage showing. So it's making Joe wonder, what does he have? So he does 8 to Ray. Now, Ray has the lightsaber on her, but it does have redeploy. He doesn't look like Joe had any additional removal other than easy pickings, but luckily Mads did probably see that coming and turn to the die side on the Ray's lightsaber that did not match, so the easy pickings was just turned off. Also, if Joe is running Entangle, he obviously could only remove 1 of those dice, and it would cost him 2, and that's really not the best efficiency use of it. So Mads is sitting there on his turn. He's trying to decide what to do. He's going to pay 1 to do the 5 to eEzra, which will knock him out of the game. The holdout blaster will redeploy. Now, who do you put it to? Do you put it to the rookie pilot? I think you put it to the rookie pilot, but he's going to put it on Yoda. It still keeps redeploy the whole time. It's not like Heirloom Lightsaber that's only redeploy on blue characters or anything like that. So it's going to redeploy over to Yoda, and then if Yoda gets knocked out, then it's going to redeploy over the rookie pilot. So either way. So we get ready. Oh, excuse me, I got a little frog in my throat. Getting ready for the next round, we see 3 resources on Matt's side of the field, 2 resources on Joe's side of the field, but that does not necessarily mean he doesn't have answers. He's going to scruffy-looking Nerf Herder, probably to get rid of an upgrade would be my best guess, but that is not necessarily the case. All right, so Joe actually starting with 4. That's correct. He had not taken his 2 for the beginning of the round. Let's see what he does. So he may say event as well. So we've got the Shoto, Caution, Close Quarters Assault, Synchronicity, and the Heirloom Lightsaber. So depending on what he said, if he said event or support, we're going to see what he decided to choose. You could choose event, but there's not a ton of really impactful events in the eAayla deck, in my experience. But then again, he wants to get rid of stuff. He did get rid of the Caution, so is not going to be able to get the shields on Rey like he was probably hoping to do. So he is going to pay the 3 to put the Heirloom Lightsaber on Rey. So both of Rey's lightsabers having redeploy. He's probably going to activate Rey and hope to get those redeployed over to Eila before or when Rey dies. So Rey rolls out, does not get the shield damage, unfortunately, this time. But he does roll out, and I see some sticks. We get some sticks on the Heirloom Lightsaber, and then a discard and a couple of blanks, unfortunately. Again, it feels a little bit naughty, or a little bit frustrating at times. It can be when you roll out your character who has 2 upgrades on her with 50% damage sides, and you roll blanks and discards, and one of your dice hits a damage. But that's the nature of dice. Just because you pick up a die that shows a blank and re-roll it doesn't mean you're even going to get something else. You could roll right back into the blank, right into the same side. You can discard a card. Discards the Caution. So Caution not being used in this particular round. Nobody likes to caution. Alright, so Mad's checking out the dice, just trying to make sure that he understands and sees exactly what they're showing. What you gonna do? Alright, discards a Force Illusion to re-roll. While Force Illusion is really good, it's really something you want to have on your character closer to the end of the game. And the reason you really want that is because you don't want to discard all the good cards out of your deck. I've mentioned this before in previous games that we've casted here over at the Chance Cube. So you really want to save that Force Illusion until you absolutely need it. So discarding it right now is not necessarily bad. We did get a little bit of a spoiler, and I mentioned this in a previous round as well, or a previous video as well, where there's a new spoiled card from the next set coming out, Way of the Force, called Luke's Training. And it allows you to pull to play a Force ability, a blue ability, from your hand or discard pile, decreasing its cost by 1. So if we were running that right now, he could discard that Force Illusion and still be able to get it back with Luke's protection. Alright, so it looks like Joe might be out of cards. I don't see any of his cards. He may be done. He may be out of them. So he was able to Yoda special to the Yoda focus. So he's really going to try hard to... Okay, so yeah, he did the Yoda special and turned one of his dice. And then he's going to do 2 damage. Mads is going to do 2 damage to... He's thinking about either Yoda or the rookie pilot. Tough call sometimes. I understand. Yep, he's going to do it to Yoda. So we're going to swap out, remove the shield, and then put an additional damage on him for 3 damage on Yoda. So still a bit of health to chew through. But eAayla definitely has the ability to do so. Oh, and we get some damage. We are going to be looking at easy 8 damage in this round. Mads is really trying to decide what to do. He does have 0 resources left, and he's got 2 dice showing blank, so even guard would be useless to him right now. Alright, so he does focus. He focuses to the 2 range for $1 on the DH-17. He was able to only use 1 of the 2 Yoda focus side, but you don't have to resolve all of it. You can just do less focus than it shows. You don't have to turn dice. as far as my understanding goes. It's not like a card where you have to resolve it to the best of your ability. Resolving dice is kind of a do as much as you can. Like if you overkill a character, you don't have to do the exact amount of damage. It's not Sorry where you have to roll in and roll the exact number to get back into your base. Sorry, I'm making a lot of analogies here. But anyway, when you resolve the focus, you can if you have a 2 focus showing, you can resolve that just to turn one of your dice. Focus says resolve up to that many on your side, so it would be interesting if they decided that you had to resolve as much of your die as possible, so you had to change 2 of your dice. I think you'd probably just change Rookie Pilot from 1+2 to the other +2, which is an easy way around it. It's not a big deal. All right, so we're going to have 4 go into Eila. Now, I think Mads is waiting to activate Eila because he really wants those redeploy weapons. Joe's trying to decide if there's any way for him to get around that. What Mads could do is discard and re-roll those dice. Nope, we see a double pass. He's allowing Ray to live another round instead of getting the activation on Eila. But you know what? I think he only took 3 damage that round, and he was able to do 4. So damage-wise, he's ahead. Joe ended up ahead on that round. That's something that I always consider. Anytime one of my opponents decides to pass, I look at my board state and say, did I do more than my opponent this round? And if I have done more, I go ahead and pass again, and we start the next round. And then Joe is able to activate first because he had control of the battlefield, especially if you have control of the battlefield. Passing on your neighbor's pass can always be a good thing. So we do see Ray sitting out there. She does need 4. We see the ambush on the... we got the ambush on the Fang Fighter coming out and getting a shield. We see Ray activation. She gets a shield, and she's able to do the 1 activation damage to Yoda. And then she rolls some good stuff. We got 3 dice showing damage. If Mads has close quarters assault, we're going to lose some stuff. All right, so he does pin down the Ray die. He is out of... Joe is going to be out of resources now. So that means that he's going to have to rely on any zero-cost upgrades or zero-cost removal that he may have. I don't think he has much of it. Yoda is not showing his special, so he's not going to be able to get those resources very quickly. We see a discard to reroll. Keeps the Ray damage. And that is the Ray we all know and love. We see an overwrite for the Force Illusion on Yoda because that was lethal. That was absolutely lethal. Now, one thing that Mads could do, Joe really needs the cards in his deck, so he did overwrite for the Force Illusion. So what he could do is he could actually build it into 2 packets. He could put 5 damage in one package and 1 in the other, or he could just divide it up 3 and 3. Oh, sorry about that. I think I was covering the microphone for a second. So he could split it up into 3 and 4, I believe, or he could do 6 and force him to do the Force Illusion on 6 damage. Now, while Force Illusion is great, it's going to save you 6 damage, losing 6 cards from your deck can be absolutely devastating, especially in vehicle deck, because vehicle decks really want all their cards. Vehicle decks usually struggle pretty heartily against discard or against mill. And so if you can actually end up milling some of your stuff, that can be pretty nasty. So here we go. I think we have a short pathway to victory, but yeah, it's definitely a short path. We got to really think about how we're going to do this. So he wants to do some pretty wicked stuff as quick as he can. So Joe, anticipating he may not have a ton of time, ends up using one of the Yoda focuses to go to 5 damage. So now it actually puts the pressure back on Mads because he's got to decide, am I going to do all this damage that I have showing on raised dice, or am I going to try to do something else? So he could force speed to do the damage on all of his different dice. And then he could potentially reroll Eila to try to get a little bit more damage, which would knock out Yoda. But and unfortunately, Joe's board state is just really not set up yet. So, yep, we're going to force speed. We're going to do 2 indirect. And I think you got to put it on the rookie pilot, man. I really do. Because if you do it on Yoda, I think the damage is too easy to split up to go through that Force Illusion. But ooh, another trick, he could just take out the rookie pilot right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So if he does any damage to the rookie pilot's gone. So he's gonna take both of it to Yoda. I think that's a dead Yoda. Yep. I'm pretty sure that's a knocked out Yoda. Nope. No, dang it, no, it's not. I keep thinking Rey's lightsaber has a +3 side. It's not a +3, it's +2. So he needs 1 more damage to take out Yoda. So that was actually really smart. Joe really saw that. If he took any damage on the rookie pilot's dead. But if he takes both of it to Yoda, he does have the Force Illusion, and the packets that Mads can divide it up into are 3 and 4. So he Force Illusions the 4 and takes the 3. So he still has 1 damage left. If Mads can re-roll Eila into damage. So, yep, there we go. We see the 4. Rally aids, vehicles. Oof. Force Illusion, the 4. Oh, yeah, we saw quite a few cards that he would have liked to see. But you know what? Yoda's still alive. And the name of the game is to survive until you can get that board state set up with all the vehicles. We still got the 5 damage showing, luckily. So that's a dead Rey. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and a shield. Yep. So that's a dead Rey with the 3 and the 2. And Mads is just sitting there. He's totally fine with that. He's like, I knew Rey was going to die eventually. I was able to get some good damage out of her, great damage out of her. 1 extra damage on her die would have just put me over the edge. But, and we see the double focus. All right, so we get a resource. He could overconfident, so that might be what he's waiting for. So he's going to do the 5. So Mads is going to be able to redeploy. Unfortunately, he's got a lot of damage on him right now. A lot of damage. He does have, he's got a lot of stuff on him. But he's pretty much done for the round. Oh, man. So there's no way for it to be lethal this time because that DH-17 has to stay on the 1 range in order for to resolve it. So he claims and takes a shield. So he did claim the resource off of Eila's die instead of overriding. And that could be because he's got some stuff in his hand that he really wants to keep. So he did take the shield to Eila. Joe deciding what he wants to do. He probably wants to double focus. He probably wants to use the focus just to the rookie pilots +2. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Having a couple of issues here. All right. So he is going to look through. So Joe's going to look through Mads' discard pile. He wants to see what other removal he has. Wants to see what he's going to be coming up to in the next round if he has some healing and things like that. Sure enough, he has to do the 3. So that puts Mads at 6 out of 10. 4 damage left, and he still has to chew through 9 damage on Joe's side of the board. Joe, however, lost a lot of cards with those Force Illusions that he's already used. So we do know that there are no more Force Illusions in Joe's deck. See a Scruffy. Looks like a Field Medic and then an R2-D2. So unfortunately, a lot of his vehicles getting removed. So we see Mads deciding what to do. He decides to roll out. He hits an Eila special, so he's got some focus there. He hits some damage, the 2 damage side on Rey's lightsaber. So that's a dead Yoda. Let's see if it is a dead Yoda or not. See if he's got anything else. Waiting. Come on, pink card. I think it was a Field Medic. All right, he's going to flank. He's going to flank the 2. Yep. And he still has the Field Medic, so he can get Yoda out of dead range unless Mads focuses to the 3 on the heirloom. We're going to have to kind of see, wait and see what that ends up being like. I'm trying to see if there is any other removal in Joe's hand that he can use besides the... so he's got Scruffy looking nerf herder, and he's got that. Oh, we see the altar play to the 2 and the 2. Very interesting. Very interesting. So he's trying to make sure that no matter what die that Joe tries to remove, he's going to be able to kill the Yoda this round. Right now, before Yoda activates. That's going to be very powerful. Yoda has all the ability, all the focus on him. Fang Fighter, while it does have good damage sides, it tends to hit those other ones, 2 out of 3 times. Statistically. And then the rookie pilot also not being able to get a lot. He could try to field medic, but unfortunately that's still a dead Yoda. But if he field medics, he's going to force Eila to do all the damage to him and save some damage on the rookie pilot. If he does not field medic, then he's going to end up with 2 on the rookie pilot, and that's not easy to remove. So I think you still field medic Yoda here. Pretty sure. Does he have another flank in there? I think another flank. So he's scruffy looking. 2 synchronicities, a caution, and a force illusion. So synchronicities or caution is going to go. Synchronicity. Caution is a dead card in Mads' hand, so he's definitely going to take one of the synchronicities. So, and sure enough, the heirloom showing the shield side, Joe just revealed the way that Yoda was going to die. So the synchronicity being able to do 2 unblockable damage, which would have come in so handy in that last round. But discarding all those cards is definitely a positive thing. So we do see the Fang Fighter roll out and sure enough hit the shield. We've got 4 damage showing on Eila's dice. Now the cool part about synchronicity is you don't have to remove any of your dice. It's just, hey, if you're showing these dice, you get to do 2 unblockable damage. So he does. Now that is something a little bit different. Oh, never mind. Okay, yeah, he did. So he actually dropped one of his dice on the way into the dice tray, but unlike Mike Gem, who prefers all of his dice to go into the dice tray, he doesn't like them falling out of his hand. Unlike him, Joe's just totally fine. If he's rolling it and it falls out of his hand, he just leaves it, and that's okay. Both ways are technically correct and technically fine to do. I don't see a huge problem with either one of them. So we did see the reroll into some damage on the rookie pilot's ability for the Fang Fighter. Unfortunately, Joe's board state just really not being able to get set up very well because of how much removal he's ending up having to play. One thing that I will definitely proper Eila on is that not a lot of expensive removal. Now that can be good and bad at times. You've got things like guard and cautions. And unfortunately, when your character is gone or if you're not showing melee sides, those cards are completely useless. So we do see him just take the shield. All right, Mads just takes the shield. We see a discard to reroll, a discard an R2D2 to reroll. Let's see, what do we got? We get a +2 and a shield and a blank. All right, so another 5 damage showing. All right, and the Force Illusion comes out onto Eila. Once again, I just need to learn how to play Force Illusion. It's just too good. Because right now, if he's showing 5 damage there, which I think he is, all 5 of that can go just straight into the deck. And Mads has plenty of cards left. So, all right, so we see the shield taken. We see the claim on Mads' side. And then we see the 5 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would put Eila with 1 health left. He really doesn't want to be that close, so he does discard. We see a lot. Okay, it was 4. So he would have had 2 left. We see a few things discarded, but one of them being a caution, which you absolutely do not want. He's got a fresh hand now, fresh 5 cards in his hand. I think they are almost all blue. Believe it or not, I would almost put money on that. Now, once again, we are still in the first round, the first game of this particular set between Mads and Joe. It is a best of 3. Mads is doing his best to hold on. Now, when it starts to get a little over half an hour of playtime, you really want to start wondering and looking at the time and saying, we have an hour and a half to do this. We got to get through 3 games. If I'm going to lose this game, I need to either lose it fast and move on to the next game, or I need to scoop and move on to the next game. And so Joe and Mads are both really top tier players, and neither one of them wants to be the one to scoop right now. They both definitely have paths to victory. Eila still just sitting with 4 health and a couple of shields, rolling that Fang Fighter. Fang Fighter just really not wanting to roll those damage sides at the first blush. All right, we definitely see some sticks here. I don't know if that's lethal. 1, 2, 3, 4. Either, ooh, if it's 4 or 5. All right, so he does the Shoto ability to remove the shield. So I think that Rookie Pilot is now in lethal range. So we see the flank to remove the base damage side, the Heirloom Lightsaber. So that is his second flank, so he does not have any more of those in his deck. I say, okay, I see a Y-Wing, I see a Field Medic, I see a Resistance Bomber. So definitely some options there. Okay, so we do some 2 indirect. Joe's scrounging around a little bit for some single damage counters. Whew. Mads just really putting the pressure on. It's very interesting to me because with Rey Eila, you have so many damage sides. Eila having 3 damage sides, and then each of the upgrades having 3 damage sides. Pretty much, if you're playing a weapon that only has 2 damage sides, you might be doing something wrong. Because it seems like every single weapon in the game has 3 damage sides. That's what they do. They're there to do damage. All we need is 2 more damage from Eila to take this game. Oh my goodness. We see Joe roll out and do some amazing damage. But luckily Eila had her special showing. We see the pin down to remove a die, so we're seeing 5 damage on the board, which is not quite enough to knock out Eila, but it's close. It is 1 damage away. All he needs to do is hit 1 damage on that Fang Fighter, and that's going to be it for Mads' game here. All right, so I do believe that it is Mads' turn. I think he got rid of, Joe pinned down the other Eila base damage die that she had. Okay, we see the Ancient Lightsaber go on top of the Shoto Lightsaber. So the Ancient Lightsaber is going to be able to heal Eila by 2 damage. 2 range damage. Just 2 damage. It's going to be able to heal 2 damage. So that does take Eila out of lethal range. Not necessarily for the round, but it's going to be pretty close. So he's going to be able to. He's really going to need to do 6 damage. So Joe really needs to reroll that Fang Fighter to try to get the damage. But what he could do is he could just resolve the damage now, resolve the 4, and then force Mads to heal. But Mads is only going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, you know what? Healing with the Ancient Lightsaber is going to make it so that Mads is going to survive till the next round for sure. Yep. Yeah, he cannot do 4 damage with that single Fang Fighter. Sorry. No way. And he is out of resources again. He's spending... Joe's had to spend so much money on removal. And then all of his vehicles just getting discarded. I think that's really where it ended up having to go wrong. So Mads just repeatedly, time after time after time, being able to put out the same dice. The Heirloom and the Rey's Lightsaber have been in, 4 rounds now? And they're just doing work. Just doing work for days. Mads is deciding if he needs to heal with the Ancient Lightsaber now or if he can wait. Honestly, I think you just do it now. And you're just going to have to wait. Now, what he really could do is he could try to claim the battlefield and take the shield. And there is a chance that Joe does not roll the 3 range damage. But I don't know if that's a chance that anybody should be willing to take. Oh, he does. He takes the chance. So Joe is going to discard. He has this game. He has this game if he can hit that 3. He discards to reroll. He's going for the win here, guys. He's going for the win. He did not hit it last time. 1 and 6. 1 and 6 to win. This is the win. This is the win for the round. And that's it. Nope. He doesn't win. So Joe actually calls it and says, I can't win this one. So he scoops. He gets ready for the next round. They are over 35 minutes into the round. By my clock, we are 38 in. I just don't know if we started recording immediately or if we had a little bit of a downtime before we actually started the clock here. So Joe is like, you know what? I've pretty much lost this. I don't think I have very much, if any, more removal in my deck. And all he has to do is hit a 2 damage side, and he's got 5 dice. So the likelihood of that happening was very, very good on Mads' side of the board. So Joe just scooped and said, you know what, let's get into the next rounds and let me win those. So we are taking a quick break while each of these players get set up. So, I'm going to... All right. Yep. Let's see what we got here. All right. So while they're taking a quick little break, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about both of these players here. On the left, Joe is from the Hyperloops, which is a content provider in the Destiny community. And they create some very high-level competitive play, decks and strategy, and they really look for those combinations of characters and cards that for the decks that just do some amazing work in the Destiny community. Mads on the right is part of the Your Destiny podcast group over across the pond, as it were, and I've heard him on a few different podcasts talking about his decks and how he does. As of this recording, Mads actually has won the European Nationals, and so we definitely know that Mads is a very good player and is able to, actually with this very similar deck to what he's playing today during this video. So sticking with eAayla, I know he actually did try Joe's deck, the drive-by shooting deck. And in the most recent podcast that I heard from the Your Destiny group, he actually said that he believed that the drive-by shooting deck was probably the best deck in the format. He just wasn't able to take it to the European Nationals because he just didn't feel comfortable with the deck and how it played. He, from my understanding, is he just felt like he needed some more reps with the deck. He needed to play a lot more games with it. My understanding, he played over 30 games with it, but still didn't quite understand exactly how the deck worked or what some of its tricks were. Joe did admit, however, in a later podcast, that this deck, while it's doing extremely well and he's in the top 4 at Worlds right now, he definitely said that it struggled a little bit in some cases, and then it also, he said that it wasn't the best version of the deck. He said there's still some design space inside it and some deck choices and some slots that can still be changed out to make the deck more efficient or to play better against its bad matchups. So while eAayla isn't necessarily a bad matchup for him, if Mads is able to roll hot like he did before and force a lot of that removal to come out of the Yoda eEzra pilot deck, then we could definitely see a repeat very quickly. In my experience, eAayla, just if you don't roll the damage the first time, try again, and eventually you're just going to hit so much damage that it's going to make your opponent cry a little bit. Okay, maybe not cry, but it's definitely enough damage to make you worried. So Joe is able to pick the battlefield this time, so we'll kind of see what he decides to do. He could still do the Obi-Wan's hut to try to get the shields at the beginning to prevent Eila from having the shields right off the bat, but they do have the chance to mulligan this time. We can see both of these players doing the little trick that we discovered a little bit earlier in the tournament, where you count them out face down first before picking them up and looking at them, just in case you accidentally draw an extra card. And sure enough, Joe decides to go with Mads' battlefield yet again. And I'm sure this is to avoid...
Come on, man.
I'm sorry, I'm also listening to them a little bit, and they're bantering quite a bit, still in very good spirits. Joe really doesn't want Ray to start out with those shields that are going to start doing damage every time she activates. So he takes the shields onto eEzra, bumping him up to 9 health for the round. And getting the +2 in the blank. We see the 4 speed on Ayla's side. We see some melee damage. Looks like 3 melee and a shield on the 4 speed. And still got the 3 resources. So it's interesting. I wonder if Mads possibly didn't roll into any upgrades this time. Which is definitely a negative thing to have happen to Mads, but not necessarily, ridiculously bad. So DH-17 on Yoda, one of the resources on Joe's side of the board gone. I think I see a scruffy-looking Nerf herder in there, as well as a holdout blaster. So, still has some options there. Mads deciding to play a card. Close quarters assault. He's going to discard 2 cards out of Joe's hand. That is actually not a bad call. First round of the game. Removing 2. Oh, a flank and the scruffy-looking. So, Joe already down to only 2 cards left in this round. Mads taking advantage of that close quarters assault while he's got it. Trying to make sure that he doesn't get too many of his dice removed, I'm sure. So we pay 3 for Luke Skywalker's lightsaber. Oh, I gotta tell you, I'm so happy to see Luke Skywalker's lightsaber come out in the World Championship at the top 4 table. Even in Awakenings, people were decrying Luke's lightsaber as just not a great card. It doesn't work great. It's not amazing. Now, while we may see Mads override it eventually, it's still not a bad card at all. We see Yoda being resolved as the discard, and interestingly enough, we have a Reaping the Crystal. Now that is very curious to me. Why he didn't Reaping the Luke Skywalker's lightsaber out? That is very interesting to me. So I did hear a little bit of banter there. Joe was a little confused as well why he didn't reap the crystal into the Luke's lightsaber. And Matt said he just was trying not to be too greedy with what his plays were. I mean, honestly, if he did do reaping the crystal into Luke's lightsaber, then he would have only had that last card in his hand. So it may have worked out really well for him. We just have to wait and see what that last card in his hand is. So we see Rey activate. She does not have any shields, so she doesn't get her co-activation. But we see 4 damage? I think that might be 5 damage. So we're going to Overconfidence. He's got to pick which 2 dice to Overconfidence. I think... Do you do both the base damage on Rey's die? Nope. He's going to do 1 base damage and then the other one on the Luke Skywalker's lightsaber. Oh, and we see Luke hits the special, so he has to remove that. He has a shield and a melee on Rey's remaining dice. So we're probably going to do 1 melee to Yoda. And then Joe's going to decide what he wants to do. He could just claim to take the shield. He decides to discard the holdout blaster to reroll last card in his hand. What does he end up getting? What can he do? What can he do? Alright, we see 2 disrupts and a +2. Looks like Maz decides to claim. His opponent really doesn't have any options, so he decides to claim. And sure enough, Joe just has to claim right behind him, or pass right behind the claim. That definitely is the ideal situation for Mads to be in, to be able to claim the battlefield, and then your opponent immediately passes with no more actions that they can take. You really don't want to end up behind on that. That really was perfect timing for Mads to be able to do that. If Joe had been able to get any more, he probably could have taken the shield and then claimed, get a couple of shields on him. Oh, we get the Shoto lightsaber. So no matter what, for the rest of the game, as long as Rey is alive, she is going to be able to get that activation damage. We see the Force Illusion on Yoda, which is also going to be pretty cool to see. The Shoto lightsaber did take up all the resources that Mads had, so he's going to be relying on 0 cost removal in the future, if at all possible. Now, while I say he does have to rely on 0 cost removal, he could absolutely play paid removal in this if he is running the card Destiny. Destiny allows you to remove any number of your blue dice and then play a card for free equal to the value shown on the dice that you removed. So, we do see Rey roll out. See if she's going to take a shield or remove a shield. Take a shield, remove a shield. What do you want to do? So he could remove a shield and then do the Rey damage to eEzra and just do some pretty fancy knockout plays, but he did not roll a whole lot on his dice. He's rolled a lot of shields, 4 shields as a matter of fact. So he decides to take 1 shield to himself and then does 1 damage to Yoda. Joe decides to just take the damage on Yoda. Does not want to Force Illusion a single damage. You really want Force Illusion to hit at least 2 or preferably 3 or higher is what you really want to block on Force Illusion. Unfortunately, if your opponent is only doing 1 damage at a time, that is not going to be the way that it ends up going every time. So Mads is staring down a whole bunch of dice showing a whole lot of weird stuff, but he can very easily discard and reroll into some massive damage. Each of almost all the dice, the only dice that do not have 3 damage sides are raised dice, and he is absolutely showing some good stuff. He is not showing any melee damage, so he does not have synchronicity online, unfortunately. So he could be tempted to leave one of the dice as a shield, possibly force speed. Okay, so we have the altar discarded. Alright, and he's rerolling absolutely everything. Okay, here we go. Alright. Special on Luke's lightsaber, which is either shields or indirect, or unblockable damage, which passes through the force illusion. Awesome. We see 2 melee, 2 indirect, 1 melee, plus 2 indirect, a resource and a focus. Oh my goodness. So we see shields go up on Yoda, so he is going to try to block a lot of that damage. That 2 unblockable from Luke's lightsaber, though, could be very difficult to get rid of. Now, interestingly enough, when you have shields and force illusion on a character, what you can do is actually take the damage on the force illusion and leave your shields in place. I did see that in a particular game where somebody did that in order to avoid a Maul's lightsaber reactivation, which is brilliant. A lot of people don't always think of that as an option when they start taking damage and force illusion. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure if you have to even take the damage on the shields. I'm sure you probably do, but I just want to put that out there and make people think about that and scratch their heads. Like, wait, if I can choose to either block with force illusion or the shield, do I even have to block with shields at all? Or can I choose how much is blocked by shields? My guess is probably not. You probably have to decide, since force illusion and shields both block, you can decide which one of them block. But I think if you have shields, you have to block. If possible, as long as the damage is not unblockable, like from a vibro knife or something like that. So I think I see a rally 8 in there. Unfortunately, no other stuff here. All right, so we did see a bracket update at this point in the thing, in the event, and Mike Gem was defeated by Edwin Chen. Edwin Chen running Elite Kylo, Elite Anakin, Elite Kylo 2, and Elite Anakin. Edwin Chen, from my memory, was able to go 2-0 against Mike Gem. Was able to knock him out fairly quickly. So that was it was a very, very quick couple of rounds for them. And I believe they were playing on the main FFG stream. Now this is the last game that is that was recorded by the Chance Cube. Once again, thank you so much, Chance Cube guys, for everything that you've been doing. This has been a heck of a world championship to be able to watch, and not just to see the streams that FFG and the games that FFG wanted to stream, but to be able to look at some of the top tables and be able to stream those as well, having a second rig set up. Chance Cube, thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome. Alright, so we're going to guard 2 of the dice away. Sure enough, get rid of some good stuff. Left with the Yoda showing a focus. And Yoda showing a focus isn't great, but we see the rally aid come out, so if he's got a vehicle in his hand, I'm not sure he does. I think I only see a DH-17 and a scruffy looking nerf herder in his hand, so he will be able to get one of those out for free. The DH-17 could go on the rookie pilot. He does still have the 2 focus, so I'm guessing that's probably what he's aiming for. He doesn't necessarily, I don't think he wants to get rid of that scruffy looking nerf herder. He can always discard to reroll 0. That is an action, it's not a pass, so he would be safe if his opponent decided to suddenly pass on. But that's not going to happen because we see a ton of damage. Alright, so we're going to rally aid now. He's going to try to get lucky and get the DH-17. Does not hit it. Scruffy looking nerf herder. He's deciding whether or not he wants to play it, or if he just wants to try to roll out the rookie pilot and get either the shield or the resource with the focus off of Yoda. So he really wanted that DH-17. Unfortunately, when you give your opponent a choice, they don't always choose the one that you want. And that is the absolute truth. The absolute truth. Alright, so we see 4 damage, 5 damage. Coming through onto the rookie pilot through the shield. Rookie pilot only having 2 health left. Rookie Pilot does have that ability to reroll one of your vehicle dice after he activates. Anytime you can get an extra chance to do anything, it definitely turns out good. So we see the Luke's lightsaber doing 2 unblockable damage to knock out the Rookie Pilot once and for all. We are left with a Yoda and an eEzra, so both of these characters are still in pretty good health. Still having quite a bit left. Mad's rolling in. I think he only had 1 card left at the end of the game. Overwrites the Luke Skywalker's lightsaber with the Rey's lightsaber to get additional shields on Rey. And he's not going to be able to activate, but there aren't a lot of cheat cards that Joe has available to him in order to get those shields off of him. No intimidates, no frightens. That's it. You got nothing that can do that. If he had a couple of Shoto lightsabers, I think you could remove a couple of the shields, but I think at this point, all 3 shields on Rey are not going to be able to be removed in the first couple of rounds, or the first couple of actions, necessarily. So Yoda is going to call a field medic over and heal him back up to 3 damage and 3 shields, so he's basically at full health with a Force Illusion. eEzra at full health with an additional shield, so we're looking at a very solid 18 health side on Joe. Alright, we see Rey activation. He's going to do 1 damage. He's going to hit a couple of blanks and a couple of sticks. So he's deciding who to do the damage to. It might be a good idea to go ahead and do it to eEzra. Just try to get rid of any spot yellow character shenanigans and cards that you may have. Nope, he decides to do it. He does the double Shoto and the Rey activation all to Yoda. Knocks all 3 shields off of him. Whew. That's going to be massive. He no longer has the ability to do the unblockable damage from Luke Skywalker's lightsaber, but we're going to see a Rally Aid come out. Joe's really, just unfortunately, hasn't been able to set up the board state like we saw him in the previous games. He does get the Y-Wing. Alright, Y-Wing is going to do a ton of work for him, for sure, especially with Yoda specials out there. That's going to be wicked good. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4 damage coming through onto Yoda. Joe deciding whether or not he wants to Force Illusion it. He does not. He's going to just go ahead and take the damage. He is in a pretty good situation. Eila can kill him, but it's not always likely, and with the Force Illusion, I don't think there's any way he can. Alright, so we do see the special on the Y-Wing. That can, I mean, it's 4 damage. So no resources on Mad's side that he can use to absorb the Y-Wing special. So he's going to take all 3 shields off of Rey. Interesting. And then do an additional damage to Eila. So now if we are looking at both sides of the board here, Joe having lost the Rookie Pilot, Yoda having 7 damage on him, eEzra still at full health. And on Mad's side of the board, we've got 4 damage. 4 damage total has been able to go through. It has been a very difficult game for Joe to be able to get those vehicles set up. Not his fault at all, you know. It's just something that happens sometimes. You gotta spend your money on mitigation sometimes, unless you just want your characters to get knocked out, and nobody wants that. All right, so we get a discard to reroll. We get a 3-for-1 and a 2, and then a resource. And then, of course, we have a focus and then a special on Eila. So we've got everything that we need to do a pretty wicked good round here. So we're going to focus, Yoda special. Take a shield and get a resource, it looks like. I'm trying to decide. He's trying to think, I'm guessing. Oh, he did not turn his die. Okay. Turn to the shield on the 4-speed, and then turn the Yoda to the disrupt. I sense a synchronicity play coming. Do you? I can feel it in my bones. So synchronicity is unblockable. Now Yoda does have 3 health left, but if he can resolve 2 damage to Yoda, and then if he has double synchronicity, then that's a dead Yoda. He absolutely could have double synchronicity. I don't think we've seen this synchronicity come through yet. So he does turn. He did turn that to the shield. Okay. So we see a DH-17 go down on eEzra. Synchronicity for 2. Yoda's down to a single health. Synchronicity. Oh. Unblockable damage. 2 unblockable damage without having to remove a single die. And second synchronicity. And Joe concedes there's no way that he can get his board state set up anymore. And Mads goes on to the final. Congratulations. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and check out FOG's videos and watch the final battle between Mads and Edwin Chen. It's a heck of a battle that shows the skill of both of these players. And congratulations. Thank you so much for watching and checking out the Chance Cube. You guys are amazing. And we'll catch you next time. The next time there is an amazing tournament, we will be there. See ya. Bye.